upside down and burning. Now that you've had some time to think about it, a little bit of information's coming out. Still a lot we don't know. Thoughts on what may have happened yesterday?
Yeah, well, first of all, Connell, thank you for having me today. I think, as already has been stated, right, that the Transportation Safety Board of Canada, assisted by the NTSB and the FAA, among others, right, are just they're going to focus in on what exactly was the weather at the time. What I heard in that conversation was that you had winds that was, gusts. There were gusty winds there. They will look at what the condition of the runway. Pilots tend to think about, what do I have in front of me?
Hmm.
What kind of landing do I want to make? You're not looking for make us, your smoothest landing, if you will. You want to get the airplane on the ground, get it stopped, and be able to clear the runway, especially in these sort of environmental conditions. So I think that will be part of the investigation, is just understanding what happened in those last few seconds just prior to touchdown.
Now, this obviously, as people pointed out yesterday and today, could have been a lot worse. I mean, 2 people are still
Yes.
hospitalized, but thank goodness that all these other people were able to get off the plane. They were literally hanging upside down after it flipped over. I want to go to the tablet. I'll just put up a stat that we saw today about the specs on modern plane passenger seats. You see this, where they have to withstand 16 times the force of gravity. Think that had anything to do with keeping people safe?
Absolutely. Part of what comes out of these investigations, especially from the National Transportation Safety Board, over time, safety of aircraft, the design, the construction of the passenger seat, that, what we believe, that ability to withstand, these kind of forces that you have when you have an unfortunate aircraft accident, all of that is around what we call the survivability factor here.
Hmm.
And certainly airplanes are much safer than we were. I can tell you, I've been flying for 45 years. And so if I look over the arc of my career, you can see the times throughout that period where you've had these step changes, if you will, in terms of the safety. We've got better data. We've got strong, the aircraft. So all of that, I think, contribute. And you know what? Folks may not call this a miracle, but I would certainly put that in part of that category here. You've got this, you land, there's a bit of a fireball, the airplane continues to slide away from the fire. And then just the incredible job by the cabin crew of evacuating everyone. I think all of that speaks volumes about this being not something that could have been entirely worse.
First responders on the ground too, so quick. All of that said, multiple people have come up, maybe I guess after watching our coverage, they say, "Wait, you know what? I got a flight scheduled on next date. I'm afraid to go." It's in people's heads in this country. I'll put up on the tablet again the incidents we've had lately. Of course, D.C. we covered, Philly right after that. That private plane in Alaska. Arizona, the military incident in San Diego, again near Atlanta, small plane, bringing us to yesterday, the one we're talking about now in Toronto. What do you say, Billy? Someone's been around. Is it this? I get the odds. Everybody knows the math. You're far more likely, to die on your drive to the airport than you are on the plane, and that's still true, right? But what do you say to people who it's in their head right now?
It is in their head, and we look at it. There's a recency bias in play here. And I don't mean that in any sort of pejorative sense, right? What you see is the latest thing that you saw, right? And if you look at the numbers over this last month and a half, certainly it's the things that give us pause. What we would say is collectively, all of the stakeholders, industry, the FAA, the NTSB, et cetera, all of us working together, you never rest on your laurels, and you certainly never rest on your records. So the global takeaway, despite the 100,000 flights that take off every day around the globe and land safely at their destination, you still see this.
Are you worried about all the talk of cuts? And not that it had anything to do with this, but all the cutbacks that are being talked about. Are you worried about that in terms of safety?
If I look at the FAA, you look at the agency will need to continue to evolve, because look, our nation's airspace is the most complex in the world. The FAA's got about 45,000 people. My understanding, this was about 1/10%, and none of the critical roles that impact safety were impacted by this 400 number.
Right.
But as we look to the future, right, it is our ability to leveraging technology, leveraging AI, to have, and I take the president at his word here, right? You want America to have the very best air traffic system, bar none. So I think that's the path we're on. And as we get on the other side of this, that's something I would, look forward to, being a part of.
Okay, and we'll continue to talk about it as well. Billy Nolen, thank you. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.